Hello there. We're going to talk about the Passion Translation. You might have come across it. You know how it feels. It's a bit different. Poetic, very strong and dramatic imagery, and emotional. For some people, it's their favourite translation. For others, well, they have some problems with it. So today, I'm going to have a look at who made it, who's behind it, and whether it's something we really should use. Lead translator, and some speculate the only translator involved in this project, is Brian Simmons. So we should really look at who he is. In 2009, he had a vision where Jesus Christ himself commissioned him to produce another English translation of the scriptures. So he initially started with the New Testament and Psalms, which he completed in 2011. He aims to have the Old Testament done by 2029. A phenomenal amount of work. I can't discredit his work ethic. He's considering he's doing this pretty much by himself. I'll give him that. I'm not taking that away from him. As well as this translation project, he also runs the TPT Bible School, TPT being the Passion Translation. Whether or not that's a correct name for it, we'll get into that later. He teaches courses about his own translation, and he does speaking engagements all around the world. So he's a very busy man, and a lot of this. All these ventures are quite lucrative as well, which is something else to note. Simmons often refers to his work, his missionary work, as a missionary translator, and he worked as part of the New Tribes Mission, which is now called Ethnos 360. And he worked specifically in translating for the Payakuna or Guna people, who are a tribe in Panama and Colombia. Interesting side note, this is their flag. In no way connected to any political parties. It's actually an octopus, which they believe created the world, and each four of these legs are a tentacle reaching into the four cardinal points, and it's reaching towards the four ends of the earth from which people originated, according to the Guna people's creationist message. And this is all relayed via community leaders. They have a sort of all-in-one political and spiritual leader who relays all this in song. It's not relevant, but I thought it was interesting. Simmons worked with Wycliffe Bible translators, and the organisation who he worked with now dispute his contribution. They don't dispute that he worked with them. I have a quote here from Vicky Mixon of Wycliffe Bible translators, and she's working on a critique at the minute of Brian Simmons. And she said in an article from en.org.uk, July of this year, it would be inaccurate to describe Brian Simmons as a translator or co-translator on any project supported by Wycliffe. He was not involved in linguistic analysis or translation. I think this is important to note because Simmons positions himself as a lead translator with translation experience on the Passion Translation, and calls it a translation, which again we'll get to. So he might be, we've all done it, we've all embellished our prior work experience a little bit, but that embellishment, if he embellishes in one area to promote a project which he is profiting from, could he embellish other areas of his life? But that's just speculation. So, it's quite a big one. His commission from Christ, and part of this vision as well. I'll expand on it. Not only was he commissioned by Jesus Christ to write another translation, but it was also revealed to him in a library in heaven, according to Simmons. He saw an extra chapter of John's Gospel. It's just interesting. He also has made other claims about the glory of God emanating from himself outwardly. That's brought people to their knees in a supermarket, and fire shooting out of his head and setting a church on fire. And power comes because he himself is a new apostle. A new apostle, part of a wider North American organization called the New Apostolic Reformation Movement. These have been around a long time. They were regarded as a bit of an alt-right fringe network of Christians, much like other alt-right fringe collectives like maybe the Ku Klux. Simmons has made some pretty bold claims. But onto his work itself. Let's take it at, we sometimes with beloved artists, you've got with your Kanye Wests and your Chuck Berrys, you can separate the artist from the work. There's lots of great works with very problematic authors. Andrew Wilson, a historian and theologian who knows a lot more about this than I do. The Passion Translation isn't really a translation at all. It's a solo attempt without the usual committee of scholars, and it's simply not accurate. So I'll take you on a bit of a dogleg here. So how do translations normally work? Well, in the case of the English Standard Version, it was put together by over 100 evangelical scholars working from the original Greek and Hebrew. And of course, there's notes between the different scholars working on it. There'll be commentary on, why they used this particular English word, and they're rational. And English Standard Version as well is a word-for-word translation. So this is called form equivalence. So form equivalence is word for word, where they would read the manuscript and they would try and preserve the formatting when there's a new line. Putting one word for word. It's pretty self-explanatory. There are other translations, like the New Living Translation or even the NIV, which are more functional equivalence translations, where it's more thought for thought. So it's not about translating each and every word. They're trying to translate the words. Maybe they have to add a few in so it flows better. So this can improve reading aloud for pastors and preachers. And they're trying to preserve more the impact the scriptures have on the reader and the feeling, more so than being word for word accurate, which can make the translation sometimes a bit crufty and the grammar sometimes a bit strange. So, New Living Translation used multiple translators and it's been revised many times. And it's also worth noting that the translators involved were from very different denominations. The contemporary English version took 10 years and a whole team, and it was designed to be read by, children and adults with lower literacy. Simmons has created a work that has taken dozens or hundreds other scholars the same time frame to complete. Andrew Sheard, who's a Hebrew professor. Brian Simmons has made a new translation of the Psalms and the whole New Testament, which aims to reintroduce the passion and fire of the Bible to the English reader. He achieves this by abandoning all interest in textual accuracy, playing fast and loose with the original languages, and inserting so much new material into the text that it is at least 50% longer than the original. So, is the Passion Translation any good? If you want accuracy to the original scriptures, no, not really. If you want one man's sort of inserted theology, who's connected to a fringe alt-right movement, then if that's your bag, go for it, knock yourself out. I know it's quite poetic, and some people might find it enjoyable to read. Personally, I'd recommend I think there's better translations that are just as poetic, without playing, to quote Sheed, so fast and loose with the original translations. I mean, if you want such fast and loose emotional theology, just listen to some contemporary Christian music. It will be about as theologically sound as this. And we'll go to who I regard as an actual apostle, Paul. And it is written that he said, "Test everything and hold fast to what is good." So if there's any good in this, yeah, hold on to it. But make sure you test the bread before you eat it and take it in. So yeah, it's a novelty, but is it a source of truth? Is it something you want to build a faithful life on and around? There's other translations and they're much better. If you've got a printed one, just put it in the bin. Just delete it off your phone. Just stop. It's not good. It's not good. This is the first attempt at a video essay. I'm doing it literally me on the floor style, which is how the kids do it these days. Bye bye.